Hi, and welcome to Terri Talks. I have Giuseppe Ianni with us from Community Summit. Giuseppe, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what you're doing with Community Summit.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Terry. I'm the VP Community Director of Attendee Activations. I know that's a long title, but in the end, I'm responsible for getting partners and clients back to our events and ensuring that we have new and engaging ways to really have our partners have the best experience possible while at the event, while ensuring that the attendees get the most out of their time at anything that they're supporting of ours.
It's so awesome. I was going over some of the things that we do at the Community Summit. And last year, I had such a great event and I had a lot to bring home. But now, so I wanted to talk to you about how events drive the ecosystem strategy. So let's start with the big picture. What's changed about the role of events like Summit in the Microsoft ecosystem over the past years? Can you give our audience a little bit of an idea about that?
Yeah, I think the interesting part is I think there's a few different types of events. If you look at the industry, Dynamic Communities operates in a very different model, right? Our events are for user by user, right? And it's true
Okay.
community events. A lot of production companies out there are driven top down, their agenda, their content, their information, but Dynamic Communities is very much funded in a sense that we have a board. That boards go this year in particular, Community Summit, October 19th to 23rd down in Orlando. We had over 2,200 sessions. Those sessions came from users in the community, from partners in the community, from Microsoft. That board went through all those sessions, narrowed it down to just over 600 sessions, a mix of obviously sessions that'll be done at Summit or full day, half day academy classes. And that really shapes the event. And for us, I think that's what differentiates Dynamic Communities in Summit North America in particular as an event is that it's run by the community. And if you look at how that's also changing, I think attendees coming into events like this, Terry, as you've seen over the years,
Yeah.
attendees want something different. They just don't want a show floor to go booth to booth and sit there for 3 or 4 days and experience that. They're looking for more experiences. So this year, I know in particular, we opened up several what we call activations. We have an axe throwing booth. We have pickleball on the floor. We have an arcade. We have a puppy booth. There's a lot of different things to come
Yeah.
and engage with as a user that I think are breaking the mold, but I think are also what attendees coming to these type of events are looking for.
Yeah, I like that breakout where you have a community that's coming together, whether it be SIs, whether it be ISVs and end users all together in such events, I should say, such activities on the floor, which I'm really impressed with this. Now, I know there's over 5,000 attendees that are expected, correct? Wave 2 is coming up, which the update confirms a real strong VAR and SI turnout. So what kind of attendees are coming to Summit North America outside of our, let's say our ISVs and VARs?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously pushing again. This event, if we look at it, is typically 60-40, 60% is end users themselves. And if we look at
Okay.
the breakdown of Community Summit, this year we did a real big focus on who we bring together at Community Summit. Because again, I think it's a very different event from most. 10% of the audience at Community Summit is going to be Microsoft, right? The creators,
Yeah.
we have them coming in to do the roadmap sessions. You have the engineers coming in. You look at 50% of the event is comprised of users, which I think makes sense, right? It's the people
Yeah.
that own the biz apps technology. They're coming to learn and educate.
Right.
About 10 to 15% are actually buyers. These are guys that don't have anything to do with Dynamics yet or biz apps. They're coming to look, evaluate, make a decision, hear from Microsoft, hear from the sellers in the community. And again, that kind of remaining 25% or so would then be comprised of the actual sellers in the community. So this is the SIs and the ISVs that are out there that are
Mhm.
coming to meet with their customers, to meet or to bring their buyers and to get them engaged back with Microsoft, to listen to the roadmap sessions and to find a fit out there in the community.
That is so awesome. So what do you think some of the biggest evolutions we'll see on site in Orlando this year?
I think the biggest evolution again comes back to these experiences. Partners, if you look at sponsors, right? Our events, obviously, our sponsor booths out here. The partners in the ISVs or VARs aren't looking for these same old kind of booths. They're looking for experiences, right? They put a lot of money and time into designing booths, but oftentimes it's noise, right? They are looking for ways to stand out. So I think you're going to see partners bringing in themes into their experiences that go along with the technology or the customer verticals that they're really strong in. We have one partner coming in they're doing a lumberjack theme to their booth because they're breaking into Canada. And it's, they're tying everything together. And I think you're starting to see partners break that mold. They're understanding that user needs are changing, attendee needs are changing, and they're looking for ways to differentiate themselves and bring a different experience back to an event like this.
Talking about that, many partners think they need this huge booth to make an impact. What's your take on it? If you're saying they're making more difference in their actual booth activity, would it make a difference?
I don't think so. I think just to clarify, I think what's different and what will make an impact is more organized partners. I think a lot of people have got accustomed, right? If I look at even my experience in 20 years going to these shows, you show up, you look at events as a lead generation event, and you're sitting there with your hat out looking for leads to be thrown in a basket or a scan. I think that mentality needs to die. And I think what we're seeing and promoting is, again, an experience in an event where you bring in your customers, you bring your prospects, you meet new prospects while you're there. And it's that mix of bringing your advocates to the table, prospective buyers to the table, that will not only create more pipeline and create a stronger ROI between the event, it makes this event less about finding new business, but taking care of your existing business while you're finding business. And when you mix those two together, it's such a strong recipe for success in stronger ROI. That, I think, is the shift that we're seeing. And I think we're seeing that shift more and more because of AI. AI is pushing people to a prompt, but yet people are looking for more than a prompt. They want that in-person experience. I think the customers want to talk. They love to mingle. They love to network. And I think events like what we produce here with Community Summit North America are ideal for that kind of community coming together.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's why, if I were to give any advice, here's the advice. Let me ask you, what should fiscal year 26 partner marketing teams do differently based on what you're seeing? 2025, pretty much everybody's already got their booths. They're ready to go. We're 3 weeks away. We're counting. We can't wait to be in Orlando. But when we're talking about fiscal year 26, I really want people to understand what Community Summit, it means the world to me. I love coming to Community Summit. I'm there every year. So if you were to give any partner advice on partner marketing teams and ISV marketing teams, what would your fiscal year 26, what should they do differently?
I think it's evolution, right? If I was to label that bucket of people in particular, it's evolution. It's don't be complacent. A lot of people, I think, have one of two perspectives, and we polled a lot of people. They're either don't want to bring their clients and they just want to have these events where we just find new, or, and part of that, I think, is an insecurity, or you see the other side of it being like, you know what, we want to dive head over heels in. It's two ends of the spectrum when it comes to how we engage at an event. I think people need to embrace the fact that customers nowadays are thriving attention. They're thriving face to face, especially coming out of 2020 to 2022, where we really lost the connection in the world. They're thriving face to face. Events like this allow you the opportunity to bring your customers and your prospects together, and you have to take advantage of that. And I think that's, to your point, a shift that these teams need to embrace and get on top of. This year, we opened up and we actually prompted every user that registered for Community Summit. We asked them who was the partner they most closely identified with. We took that list, and for the first time ever, we're giving it back to the sponsors and the community so they can arrange meetups. They can invite people to dinners. And it's not just going out there at the event and trying to get people to come to a dinner last minute. This is much more organized structure in an attempt, again, to network both our existing and our new all together and have that strong experience. But that, to your point, is change and evolution. Some are doing a really great job of it and they're going to see great ROI, and some aren't yet. And I think it's just going to take them more time to adopt that.
Yeah, I think to one point I want to stress out, I think if you go to any conference, it is a go-to marketing acceleration. It's nothing more than that. You're not going to walk away with an ROI. You're not going to walk away with closing deals immediately. I think that the relationship building is the main aspect of everything. And I think you guys put on a grand opportunity of being able to build those relationships through a Community Summit. I have one last question. I'm at IAMCP in Frankfurt, and of course I'll be in Orlando in the next 3 weeks. but you work closely with IAMCP and the board or partner community. What's the value of them and what distinguishes each event?
Yeah, I think there's so many great events, right? There's so many great organizations. I know Dynamic Communities, we have the way we operate and our mandate behind it, but I think there's a lot of great organizations out there. I think what's important, again, now in today's day and age more than ever, and actually we're going to announce some stuff at Community Summit that I think is going to allow organizations like IMCP to come together and ensure that community is aware of these events, right? Community needs these events. It's not about one event is the end all be all or the other, right? I think we need to work together. We need to remember that we don't want to communicate or dilute the value of all of these events, right? It's important, I think, to align, get the most out of these events, but understand what's different about each of the events and why you would want to go, what people you're taking to event X versus event Y, what clients you're inviting to X versus event Y. And I think when you look at IMCP in particular and the value they bring, right? I think that's just another great example of an organization that's established that wants to continue to differentiate what they're doing, but also bring community together, which I think is critical.
So if you had one last thing to say to any partner, any ISV, or any end user, what would you advise them right now?
When it comes to Community Summit or holistically?
Yeah.
For community,
It's all about Community Summit.
yeah, for Community Summit, it's plan and prepare, right? The agenda's out there, the filters are out there, build your session. The Move It app that we have coming out will be available October 1st. You can download it, get on there. Networking will be available. We have something new this year called Jam Sessions. It's going to be a dedicated room with 50, 60 tables that you can go and set up meetings and sit down and network with one another. So somebody like yourself, Terri, as your president, can be meeting with all your partners or clients that you want to meet with, all organizing that really through the app, which will be great.
That's nice.
So that's something that I think if you start early and plan, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck out of being in an attendance versus the ones that could just show up and walk the floor. So plan and prepare.
Yeah. I always plan. Do you know I go through the math at least 20 times prepping for this event, and I go aisle for aisle looking for everybody, especially I want to meet up with. But then I'm finding new ISVs or finding new partners I didn't even realize were there. So it's interesting to go because what I love about what you guys prepare is you put the website up there, you put not only the company name, you put what they're all about, what they provide. That looking at the floor map alone takes me to a different level on planning. Thank you so much, Giuseppe, for joining Terri Talks today. And I look forward to seeing you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, same here, Terri. Safe travels. Thanks again for having me on.